Hi, Brigid. I'm Christy. I know we've been Facebook friends and have corresponded a little bit, but this is officially me, my face, my voice, all the things. So good to meet you. Thank you for your patience with this video. Um, I like to give about a 48-hour window once someone kind of um, orders a reading because I like to give some space to be in the right frame of mind, to be honest. And I apologize. Yesterday I was not in the right frame of mind. Just had, as you can understand, a lot of personal things going on. And I like to give my attention to my readings when I'm doing them. So, yeah, so here we are. And what I'm doing and what I have been doing here now is shuffling. And as I shuffle, I kind of reflect on your name and meditate on that and ask what should come through for you. So that's kind of how this begins. What I like to tell people is that to take for any reading or anything spiritual or intangible, really, is to take what resonates with you and leave behind what doesn't. And so the idea of resonation is that it's kind of like if you've ever seen like a piano when you lift back or like grand piano, you lift up the side or whatever, and they've got all those wire coils that go away, and when you actually strike the key, it strikes the coil and the coil vibrates, and that's what makes the sound. And so when something resonates, when we say it resonates, it's vibrating. It creates like a physical response in your body, even if it's just like, oh, I feel warm, or I feel like a sinking in my stomach, or my chest expands, or my shoulders constrict, that kind of thing. And usually resonation means that there's a reason you are meant to hear that thing. Sometimes you'll immediately know why. Sometimes you need to reflect on it over time, and then the answer will be shown to you. If it doesn't resonate, which means like it just falls flat, then don't worry about it. And I'll be honest, usually if it doesn't resonate, you forget about it. So it's not as memorable. So yeah, I mean, like imagine if you struck a key on that piano and it made no sound, like you wouldn't even know what it sounded like to remember it. So that's kind of what I mean. As you're listening to this, as you're going through your reading, sometimes it's also good to have like a notepad or a journal next to you so that you can write down those things that resonate with you. The benefit of having the video is you can go back and watch it again. I will say though, I'm getting a pulse check for like right now in this moment. And even in a few days that can change. The other part is you may hear, or different things may resonate with you in a few days. So it's really good to jot some notes down about what resonates with you this first time listening through, and then go forward. If you want to listen to it again, you may find that you hear different things, just different things that strike your attention as your situation evolves. So without further ado, I am going to get started and draw some cards out here for you and see what I can find. I will say it usually takes me, sometimes I'll start a reading and then I'll get like more of an impression as the reading goes on. And so, so bear with me because it's not always like cut and dry. I am not a psychic as far as like I can't read your thoughts or read the future. But I get impressions of things, and I get like energies, like feelings, and then I get sometimes I'll get specific words or phrases, and I share those things. So that's kind of my learning to trust my own intuition of things coming up. And I will occasionally show you the cards that I'm working with so you can get a sense of what's happening. And occasionally I will pause because I'm trying to tune in and get a feel for things. So, I'll be real frank with you. This seems like a hard season, and I'm probably preaching to the choir even in saying that. But it's almost uncomfortable for me to even relay that because it seems like there's a lot of stuff happening. And I was also tempted to like want to draw new cards because I wanted a more positive message for you. I think the positivity that's coming out of this, and I'll share, what I sense is happening, but I think there is positivity at the end of this cycle that you're in, but it's gonna be some disappointment getting there, unfortunately. Um, I think, and a lot of times in these situations where the situations don't go as we want, it's an invitation um, to really muster up all the tools and lessons that we've learned, so that we can navigate rough waters as well as calm waters. So I'm putting this out there right at the beginning because I don't want, as I keep saying things, I don't want you to keep going, oh, of course. I want you to see that this is all an invitation to you to, like I said, gather your resources. It's an opportunity also to see how strong you are and how far you've come. So I tell this to people I do readings for a lot, but I think keeping a journal would be really powerful and would be a really good way when you get discouraged, when you meet obstacles, to come back to that and see where you've been. And maybe even in that journal, writing down where you want to be going. Okay, because I'm getting the sense that maybe that's also a part of why you're running into these conflicts, is because you're not clear on where you want to be. And when you're not clear on where you want to be, you're not sending out that message to the universe to say, hey, and maybe it's like inability to take ownership, I know for me, for the longest time, it was hard to say, I want to be in a relationship. Even though deep down that's what I wanted. And I would kind of talk about being single, and I would talk about, wanting to meet someone or whatever. But when someone flat out said, do you want to be in a relationship? There was a part of me that was like, well, don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't narrow down, the dating pool so much. Like, what if you meet a great person, but they're not ready to settle down? And it took me a while just to be like, no, I own that I want to be in a relationship. I want to put that energy out there. So whatever it is that you're wanting to get to, don't hesitate to own it. Okay, it may be off the beaten path, it may be unique to you, but you owning that is really going to help clear this path. Okay, because there's a lot of bumps right now in what is happening here. I mean, here's like your most recent self, Five of Rods. You can see like there's just a lot of conflict there. And honestly, I'm getting the sense that this is your inner conflict. So, we have the older, the more pragmatic, money lending type guy in the corner. You've got the two children, the boy, the girl. So the masculine and feminine parts of ourselves, the jester in the back that's maybe just looking to have fun, wants to joke around. All of their rods are getting caught up in each other's rods. So it's like everyone's trying to interject their opinion, and they're not being heard. They're not being fully heard. So try to identify all those parts of yourself that may be neglected, that maybe you're shutting off, that have a voice, they have a say in things. And when they're not heard or understood, they get discouraged. And now that's the most recent past. Current is the Four of Swords. And this is kind of your current self. She's pretty guarded. She is definitely protected and surrounded, but there's not a sense that she is doing this because she's learned to set boundaries. There's a sense that she's doing this because she built walls. And yeah, and then the near self is the Seven of Swords. And swords generally represent words. So here he is. Here's this guy. Um, he's got all the words, but as you can tell, there's no one else with him in this picture. So he has all the things to say, but he's not necessarily, still not necessarily happy. So check in with your happiness levels, because this is the bridge that's going to get you. This is what's kind of crossing you right now. It's kind of the bridge between the past over the present and into the future, is the Nine of Cauldrons, which, is a jolly, happy, abundance sort of space. So I'm getting the sense that to avoid evolving into the Seven of Swords, which is you've taken down the walls, but now you're using your words as armor. You really need to come back to a sense of abundance and a sense of control over your state of wealth, your state of happiness, your state of being, because you are ultimately in control. And yeah, what that's going to do, if you can focus on your gratitude, what that's going to do is kind of um, keep you from feeling dejected, feeling left out, feeling like um, this guy who's like, he's got all his words surrounding him and protecting him, but he's all alone. And then the Knight of Cauldrons. So actually, I'm gonna stay here. This card is actually in reverse. Okay, so what I'm getting the sense is that if you can focus on your gratitude and the abundance that the Knight of Cauldrons is showing you, then you can avoid this. Okay, that's why it's in reverse. It's actually a like, if this, then this. Okay, if not the Nine of Cauldrons, then it's definitely going to be right side up, and they're going to have some of these feelings here. Another thing I want to caution is that generally the Knight of Cauldrons right side up, we kind of have a warrior of the heart, is what one reader told me, and I think it's applicable here. This is in reverse during this season. Okay, so I get the sense that, as there's also going to be kind of a shady character who's not when he's right side up, he's holding that bowl with care, even though he has his like little metal hand things on. When he's upside down, that bowl, which is cauldrons or cups, usually symbolizes emotion. All of that emotion is just spilling out. And so you're essentially pouring into someone who is holding that upside down and letting it dump all over the place. And that can be, so here's kind of the kicker, is that can be the masculine part of you, which is, why it's coming up masculine. This is kind of a cycle, so stay with me. Everyone has a masculine, feminine, regardless of their gender. Okay, some lean toward one or the other. They have more masculinity than feminine characteristics. And so our masculine, even if we tend to be more feminine characters, our masculine still plays a very important part in our well-being. And if that masculine part is weak or underdeveloped, then our feminine tends to walk around being unprotected, unguided. It's kind of the head over the heart, or heart over the head. Feminines, we tend to be more heart-driven. Masculine tends to be more head-driven. It's the heart versus logic. And so sometimes if the masculine parts of ourselves are underdeveloped, then our feminine is overcompensating, okay? And they oftentimes, the feminine will lead us into situations based on the heart, and that's okay, but it's not taking into consideration the logic or the rationale, which can get us into trouble and get us hurt, okay? So this could symbolize the masculine part of you. Here's kind of another philosophy. I'm just going to blow your mind today. We also tend to project out into the world what we need to see inside of ourselves. So we subconsciously create scenarios in our world to reflect back on ourselves. That being said, a male person may come into your life who is doing these things to you, who is kind of taking a lot of emotion from you and then letting it spill to the wind, not valuing you, not holding you gently and with care. Um, and that's an invitation to then look internally and say, okay, how am I neglecting myself in that way, right? How am I not hearing me? I'm walking through that this weekend with a person that made plans with me, broke them, like just a lot of things. And it was so hard. I was so triggered emotionally to be upset, hurt, frustrated by this person. And I have been realizing that the discomfort is really in that he is mirroring back to me my own truth, which is that I have neglected myself. I have not appreciated my time or respected my own time, and that I tend to treat myself as disposable, whether it's to myself or to relationships, right? Um, so subconsciously, I created that situation so I could be faced with all of that stuff. All right, so it's kind of a weird, like, which came first, egg or the chicken? Um, did this person come along to mirror back, or did you create them to see that? Who knows? But regardless, it may be both internally and externally a real person that comes into your life. I'm getting the sense that it is going to be a real person, because some things that are really uncomfortable for us to sit with require a physical, tangible lesson in front of us before we can really sit with the truth of it. So that's not a dig on you, just so you know. Just some lessons are harder to learn, and we're very used to avoiding them. And so the universe kindly gives us these things in real life um, that we can take note from. So so there's a lot of if then this going on, and I get the sense that if you're able to accept this season that's kind of ugly and probably very frustrating, but also really deep, um, then then you're going to get the Seven of Cauldrons, which is this guy here, and as you can see, there's a lot of like joy, beauty, vulnerability happening here. The ladies are up to their waists in the water, which water symbolizes emotion. They're very comfortable with their emotion. They are also very comfortable with sharing that emotion with the masculine. And so being able to share that in a relationship. Um, you can also possibly evolve, mature into the Queen of Swords, which is what we got here. Um, Now these are both in reverse over here. Okay, um, so the Queen of Swords, I'm actually getting that this is going to be a female, or feminine, and or feminine character that comes into your life that very pragmatic, very honest, um, kind of low bullshit tolerance, but not a bitch. That fine line. Um, that person's gonna help guide you through this. Okay. Um, and they're going to use words to do that. So this is again practicing resonance, what resonates with you on what this person says and what doesn't. But if something strikes you, if it strikes a chord and makes you upset, odds are it's the content, not the person. It's not the messenger, it's the message. So sit with it, be upset, just remember that it's not the person that you're upset with, it's what's coming up for you. And again, journal is going to serve you really well here. I also get the sense that if you're able to accept kind of the challenge and the invitation, this is the Ten of Rods down here. You see how he's struggling. Generally, rods are ideas or thoughts, opinions. He is definitely collapsing under his. This is in reverse, though, so that's a little bit comforting. And reverse usually means the opposite. So again, I get the feeling that it's like if you accept the challenge laid before you and everything that's going to be happening in the near future, I'm getting like a few weeks. I don't know if that's accurate or not. That's just kind of what came to mind. But everything that's going to be happening in the next few weeks, you can avoid you can avoid collapsing under the weight of your ideas, thoughts, and opinions about things, about yourself. First of all, that's probably the hardest struggle, is that you are going to be struggling with your opinions of yourself. But then that also feeds out like a fountain to opinions of others, opinions of the situation that you're in. So the Ten of Rods is just there kind of as like, it's like choose your own adventure. Okay. So that's the beauty, honestly, of reading cards, and also the frustration probably is that, I'm giving you a snapshot of the pulse I'm getting right now in this moment. What the cards are showing me today is that you have several choices to make that are going to shift this. So even if I did a reading for you in a week, it would probably look different based on the choices that you're making in this moment, that you're going to make tonight, tomorrow, etc., etc. So I think that's also kind of why I wanted to give you that disclaimer at the beginning, was that on the surface, it's going to look very hard and very frustrating. And maybe even there's a sense of like, haven't we already been through this before? Haven't I already learned this lesson? Haven't I already done all these things? But again, if you can take it as an invitation to grow, that the universe is not against you. The universe is actually presenting you with some of these things so that you can see what you're made of, so that you can see how the lessons you've been learning are actually really fruitful and have been taking root in you. Then the next phase of your adventure will change. And yeah, the card that's kind of that's in the resolution portion of this reading is the Page of Cauldrons. And the pages are generally, they're adolescents, so there's a sense of juvenileness about them, but I kind of look at it as innocence and slash ignorance in the best way. In the way that teenagers tend to be a combination of child, which, kind of that wide-eyed wonder, that eagerness about the world, pairing with the knowledge and the facts that they're also learning about the world. So they're not, so immature that they can't, have responsibilities, but they're not so dumbed, like drugged down by their responsibilities, that they also can't explore and enjoy the world around them. That's kind of the sense of like this. That's the resolution. And this choose your own adventure. You're gonna work your way to that place. It's just a matter of your choices affecting the path that takes you there, and the amount of time that you spend getting there. Okay, the harder if you choose to resist, then the path will be longer and harder. If you choose to go with it, to accept the invitation to grow and to learn, the path may be a struggle initially, but it's going to be shorter, and it's not going to be as difficult. Because as you can see where you are right now, the Four of Swords, you're imprisoned. All right. You've built a wall to protect yourself. You've got all the right words to say. And honestly, you're pretty asleep to it, because, this chick has her eyes closed. There's almost even a sense of, I'm getting a sense of, she's got her hands like this, which it kind of reminds me of prayer hands. So there's this sense of like, piety even about it, that she feels justified in the walls she's built, in the protection she's put up, and then the hands, opening like this. It's like, you can't tell me otherwise. It's a long way to go from there to the wide-eyed, eager wonder who trusts that life is good, who's willing to go with the flow. That's what adolescents do generally. They're not jaded. They're not they're not so full of history of hurt and misunderstanding about the world around them that they can't interact with it and be, they risk, you watch like junior high age kids, and yeah, okay, they're scared of like asking someone on a date, but man, they are not scared of like going out there and flirting and meeting new people. I mean, granted, if they're more introverted and shy, that's obviously a different story, but there's just something really refreshing about young kids, or about kids that age, is they're just, man, they're just so eager to try again. Like they fail and they try again. They fail and they try again. I just remember being a camp counselor for that age group and falling in love with them because they were so goofy and funny and silly, and they didn't need me necessarily, to like make sure they weren't gonna fall off, the bridge or something. So they still had like a sense of responsibility to them. Anyway, all that to say, there's a long ways to go between where you are now and where that is. And I want to reiterate that it's your choice. It is your choice how you get from here to there. The universe is lining up some lessons, some options for you um, um, to grow, to serve as mirrors, to um, provide a level of challenge again so you can see what you're made of. And this could be a season that breaks you, or this could be a season that empowers you. And it's all your choice. So I'm getting the sense that I need to draw 3 more cards. So I'm going to do that to see if it adds to, if it brings another layer into this. And yeah, it's all good. If 4 of rods, so I'm going to hold these up for you. 4 of rods, 6 of cauldrons, and 8 of pentacles. And to me, this is family, relationship, career. It's all on the other side. Okay. So if you can, I'm getting the sense that you needed to hear that so that you could trust this season that you're in, that you could trust there is light at the end of the tunnel. And you're not gonna probably see that for a little bit. I don't know that time frame because again, it's all based on your choices, and the choose your own adventure. I hope that makes sense, right? Did you do the choose your own adventure books when you were a kid, where like you got to the end of a section and it was like you could go this way or go this way, and then you'd go to that part of the book and read the next part of the adventure. I'm just gonna getting the reminder that that's your life, that is life. That's all of our lives, but it's especially important for you to remember that you get to choose. So if you don't like the choices in front of you, you can create other choices. Keep that in mind. But family, love, career, they're on the other side of this. And this is kind of the window into this, after this season, that I have done the spread for initially. And I'm getting, I should draw 1 more card. So, okay. All I can say is damn, girl. Okay? This is where you're headed. High Priestess. I don't know if you realize this or not, but you are, this is who you're meant to be. She is the number 2 card in the Major Arcana. She's a strong, strong feminine character. Creation literally flows out of her, interacts with her, loves her, supports her. She holds night and day between her in her being. Um, and she's not afraid to be vulnerable. She is sexy as hell, and she is gorgeous. And she's empowered. Okay, she's not powerful in the sense of in the way that we think of negative power. She is powerful in what she exudes. She radiates power, and it's attractive. All right, to some it's not, because there are some who cannot handle powerful women, but this woman is, and that is you. And I don't know if you realize that's inside of you or not, but the universe is trying damn hard to get you there. It's like you're a rock in a rock tumbler, and you are meant to shine. You are going to tumble around for a little while until all the rough edges are smoothed over, until that gem is glowing. But that is who you're meant to be. And the sooner you own it, the sooner you own the time in the rock tumbler, and the sooner you own that all of this is for your good. It is not meant to punish you. It is not meant to just bring strife to you. It is meant to evolve you to the high priestess. It is meant to bring her forth, because you're meant to shine. And I don't often get super preachy, okay? Unless I feel very strongly that this is what needs to happen. I feel very strongly that this is where you're going, all right? I mean, I now feel like the card set is complete, whereas I didn't before. You know, kind of what I said, like I wanted to do another pull for you on the cards. I now know why. That's because there were more that needed to be shown. Yes, the majority of the season you're in is rough. It is rough. But beyond that, you're going to start getting the things that your heart desires, and ultimately you're going to come into your power. So name what you want, name who you want to be, name those special things inside of you that, like, man, I am really good at this. Not just good at doing something, but man, I know I'm a leader. I am a good leader. I am a good mom. I am really understanding but firm. Start naming those things about yourself and own them, okay? It is time to stop trying to change who you are to fit other people's agendas. It is time to stop minimizing who you are so that other people are comfortable around you. People are not going to always be comfortable around you. That is the truth of being an honest, empowered woman. I could go into my whole spiel about the patriarchy, but honestly, what I'm understanding about what's happening on a cosmic level is that the patriarchy is going down. It is dying. The divine feminine is rising, and you are one of those light bearers. So we need you. We need you to own that. The next season, the rise of the divine feminine is going to be in the hands of women like you. So if that wasn't a bomb drop, I don't know what was. I actually went over my time because I felt so convicted about sharing this with you. I want to also, one more thing that came to mind was women who run with the wolves. Let me show you. I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is my Bible, okay? Women Who Run with the Wolves. Clarissa Pinkola Estes is the writer. You need to pick up a copy of this, okay? This is going to also help understand the balance between the masculine and feminine. It's going to help kind of relay that for you, but it is going to help you dig deeper into what she calls the wild woman archetype. So I'll hold this again. See, wild woman archetype. And essentially that is the woman that is deeply connected to her nature and her world. And she has cleared all the obstacles, and she's able to move forward as this bright, beautiful being. So highly recommend picking up that book and digging deep into it. Journaling, maybe creating a vision board. I keep looking at my vision board for some reason. It's right in front of me, but I also just keep going back to it, and I think you need a vision board. You need to own it. That's kind of the last thing that's coming up, is you need to own it. So feel free to message me if you want any clarification on anything. I generally tell people I am the messenger, so even if you have questions, I'm generally not the right one to answer them, but I will try. If an immediate answer comes up and it's just like clarifying, I will definitely share that with you. Otherwise, I do encourage people to write down their questions and then take those into your prayer meditation time, however that looks for you, and see if the answers come to you. And that's also part of how I empower you, because that's you learning to trust your own intuition and your own voice and all of that, um, so that you can also begin to see what the universe has for you without always having to go through someone else. So much love to you. I thank you so much for letting me share and for trusting me to do this for you.